Hey guys, it's Olivia and I'm back with another video. So this video is just going to be a life update because if I'm being 100% honest with you right now, I couldn't come up with a video for this week. My mind is so bogged down by things that are just like happening in my life right now. And so I just want to share it with you guys. And hopefully if I say it out loud, it'll help me to organize my thoughts and it'll help me to calm down. And then I'll just be able to get done what I need to get done because right now I'm in kind of a spiral and it's also like affecting my creativity, which is why I couldn't come up with a video idea. And I just need to say this stuff out loud. So I'm basically just thinking out loud at this point. So as you guys know, I'm in university. I'm in my 5th year of my undergrad. I know it like typically takes 4 years, but for me it took 5 because school's hard. Okay? School's hard. And so I took an extra year. And it's partially because I've switched majors twice, which I've spoken about on my YouTube channel. I made one video when I switched the first time, another video when I switched the second time. And so I was originally a business major, and then I switched to kind of a computer science type major at my school. It's like a subsection of computer science at my school. And then I switched to film major, music minor, which is what I'm currently doing. And so if all goes well, I should be graduating in June, meaning I'll finish all of my classes in April, and then the actual graduation ceremony will be in June. The thing is, because I've switched majors so many times, the way my schedule is set up, basically in order for me to graduate this year, I needed to take more than the full course load. So I took 7 classes last semester, and I'm taking 6 classes this semester. And it is a lot, especially because most of my classes are online. I'll talk about one of my classes that is now in person, but most of my classes are online. And in order to make up for participation grades, because back when you were in person, a prof would ask a question, you'd raise your hand, answer it, and then that would go towards participation. But since you can't really do that over Zoom, then we have like weekly forum posts. So it's like in a regular class, you would have a lecture for 3 hours and you would get the information from the prof and take your notes and blah, blah, blah. Plus you would get your participation marks within this 3-hour time. But now you still have this 3-hour lecture, plus you have to answer the forum post later on. So now that class isn't just taking up 3 hours, it's taking up more time. And also when it comes to being a film major, if you have a 3-hour class, typically 2 of those hours would be spent watching a movie. So you would have a lecture for 1 hour and then you'd watch a movie for 2 hours because stuff from the movie would be related to the lecture. Like maybe they're talking about shot composition or whatever. And then so it would be like, this is the concept we're learning today and here's a movie that explores this concept. And then whenever you would be writing a test, you would write about stuff from the lecture, stuff from the textbook, as well as give movie examples that you screened in class. But now what is happening is they're doing 3 hours of lecturing and you have to watch the movie on your own time. So it used to be 3 hours of getting your participation marks, getting the lecture material, taking your notes, and watching the film for that week. Now it's 3 hours of lecturing, 2 hours on your own that you have to watch the movie, and then about an hour that you have to answer the forum post. So now this previously 3-hour class is now taking up 6 hours. And that doesn't include the assignments you have to do. So on a weekly basis, your classes are now 2 times longer. Okay? And I'm taking 6 classes. So now all of my classes, for the most part, are 2 times longer than they typically would be if it wasn't online. So that's stressing me because I'm taking a larger course load than I've ever taken in my final year of school. So I'm taking upper year courses, my classes are harder, and they're taking up more time. And so yeah, school is very overwhelming right now. And so as I said, if all goes well and I pass all my classes, fingers crossed, then I should be finished in April. I don't know if this is how it works at every university, but it's the way it works at mine, is you have to apply to graduate. So if you want to graduate in June, then you have to apply to graduate by March 1st, which is tomorrow. And I'm typically a procrastinator, but I did apply to graduate. I applied last week. But can I be honest with you? I was postponing applying to graduate because I was afraid that I might not. And I don't know, I was just getting in my head because of so many things that needed to get done. So last week was reading week, which is basically a week off school. And so I felt like that gave me a little bit of a reset and kind of gave me a mental break. And so I was like, let me just apply to graduate, because what I was afraid of, when you apply to graduate, they basically just see, are you capable of graduating in this time frame? So for example, if I still needed 3 more credits, which is typically 1 class, and I said, oh, but I'm going to graduate at the end of the semester, then they'd look at my application and be like, no, like you don't qualify to graduate within this time period. So with my current course load, I will complete the total amount of credits you need to graduate, assuming I pass all my classes. So with my current course load, there's no reason for them to deny me. So what I was afraid of is I would apply to graduate and they'd be like, okay, we've gotten your application. Yay, you've been accepted. And then hypothetically, I failed a class, and then they'd have to email me back and be like, ooh, sorry, you actually don't qualify to graduate because we thought you were going to have enough credits, but you didn't, right? And so I was just fearful of getting that follow-up email, but I was like, let me just apply, and whatever happens, happens. So I have applied to graduate, and hopefully all goes well. But yeah, so school has been kind of stressing me. And another thing I said, most of my classes are online, but one of them is in person. Well, it's sort of half of one of my classes is in person. So basically, the way some classes work is you'll have a lecture and then you have a tutorial. The lecture is like the prof talks, you take notes, blah, blah, blah. And the tutorial is typically where you do your assignments and where you have like more, I guess, discussion. So it's like your lecture hall might have 100 people, but then you have like 4 tutorials. So then each one has 25 people. So it's basically an easier way to have a discussion because there's less people. And also your TAs are typically the people who mark your work. So for example, if you have something due, you won't hand it to your professor, you'll hand it to your TA based on what tutorial group you're in. So for one of my classes, the lecture is still online, but the tutorials are in person as of today. So I had my first in-person class in 2 years. Yeah, pretty much today. And it was different. Like, we still have to wear masks and stuff, which is whatever. But I don't know. One thing I liked about staying home is if I had an 8:30 a.m. class, I could wake up at 8:25 and then click the Zoom link by 8:30. Now, if I have an 8:30 class, I have to leave my house by 7:30 the latest, because I don't live on campus. I still live at home with my parents, and when school was in person, I would commute every day. And so my commute is an hour long. But then another thing, like if my class starts at 8:30, I can't leave home at 7:30 to reach school for 8:30 because you still have to park, and then you have to pay for parking, and then you have to actually walk to the building where your class is. And so you need a little bit of a buffer, which means you need to leave home at like 7, which means I would be waking up at like 6 or 6:30, depending on how many things I had to do in the morning. Like sometimes I would skip breakfast, which I know you're not supposed to do, but sometimes I would skip breakfast so that I could sleep in a little bit longer. And so on a day when I would skip breakfast, I could wake up at 6:30 instead of 6. And so it was nice having class online, because even if I had an early morning class, I didn't have to wake up before the sun. But today I had an 8:30 class, and I need to get there before 8:30 so that I can park and get to my class. And so basically I had to wake up before the sun, which I do not like, but it's what it is now. And there's only like, I think 3 or 4 more weeks of school. So I don't know why they went back to in person for like the next month. Like I don't get it. Basically, your prof can choose whether or not they want to go back in person. And this one prof, out of the 6 classes I have, this one prof decided that he wants the tutorials to be in person, but the lecture to be online. And the thing is, as I said, your TAs run tutorials. Your prof runs lectures. So basically, the lecture is still online, which means he still gets to stay home. It's the students and the TAs that now have to go in person. So I'm like, oh, how convenient that the part of the class that you chose to keep online makes you have the ability to stay home, but everyone else has to get up out of their bed and go to school at the butt crack of dawn. So anyways, that's kind of annoying. He literally arranged it in a way where he's the only person that gets to stay home all the time. But anyways, so I had my first in-person class today. It was, I don't know, it was whatever. But yeah, school is stressing me right now with things changing, and now I have to commute again. But it's only one day a week. It's only on Mondays, but school is a lot for me right now. Another thing in my life, which you guys would know if you've been watching me for a while, is I do track and field. So I'm a track athlete, and during the school year, I am on my school's varsity track team. And so with COVID and lockdowns happening and unhappening and blah, 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 we've had a track season and it's been kind of on and off with the lockdowns. So basically, we started in September and we had our first meet the last week of November, and then one meet the first week of December, second week of December, and then there was another lockdown because of Omicron. And so I live in Toronto, Ontario, Canada, and in Ontario we've been going on lockdowns like every 4.5 seconds, to be honest. So anyways, there was another lockdown. I wouldn't call it like a full lockdown where like you're not supposed to leave your house or anything, but basically sports and recreation were on pause. So the place that I work out at, because since I live in Canada and it is winter time, we train indoors. So if it was over the summer and we were training outside, then the facility would still be open because you can space out because you're outdoors. But when you're indoors and with the lockdown restrictions and the amount of capacity that places could have, it just didn't make sense to have the track open if you could like have 5 people in there. So anyways, we were pretty much on pause from mid-December until the first week of February. And then we came back in February, and starting on the weekend after February 9th, we have been competing every weekend. So the thing that's stressing me about track at the moment is I'm injured. So months ago, back in either October or November, I made a video unboxing and reviewing new track spikes. So with track and field, each event has their own specific shoe. So you have long jump spikes, triple jump spikes, sprint spikes, high jump spikes, pole vault spikes, etc., etc. And so I am a long jumper and triple jumper. And I used to do both of my events in sprint spikes because I used to be a sprinter and I had these sprint spikes and they had always worked well for me. So I was like, I'm just going to use them for all my events. I'm going to sprint in them, long jump in them, and triple jump in them. But those spikes, if you watched my video about me unboxing my new ones, my sprint spikes were from the 10th grade. Like I had literally had them for 6 or 7 years. And so I was like, 1, you're not supposed to keep any pair of spikes for that long, and 2, I was keeping the wrong shoe for the current event that I was doing for 7 years. So I was like, fine, it's time to get the actual shoe for my event. Let me invest in myself. So I made that video. I got both long jump and triple jump spikes, and in that video I also showed you some footage of me actually practicing and competing for the first time in my new shoes. One thing I didn't mention in that video is the first meet I competed in the last week of November. I don't even know if I sprained my ankle, but I hurt my ankle. So as I said, in mid-December, there was another lockdown and we didn't come back till the first week of February. So I hurt myself in November, but then the whole season was on pause starting in December. So I had from mid-December till early February, so 6 weeks to rest my ankle. So I'm thinking, obviously getting injured is not ideal, But if any time is a good time to get injured, it's now, because the season is on pause. So it's not like I'm injured and there's all these meets happening and I'm missing them because I'm hurt and I can't compete. So I got injured at the right time. So I had these 6 weeks off and I was doing all the things. I was doing the RICE, you know, the acronym: rest, ice, compression, elevation. I was doing it. I was ricing, okay? I was doing all the rice. So then I'm thinking, when I come back in February, I'm gonna be good, right? Wrong. I come back in February and I try and triple jump, and I don't know exactly what's wrong, but something on the outside of my left ankle is acting up. And the problem is, or like the bigger problem, is that it only hurts me when I triple jump. So typically, if you have an injury, like let's say you sprained your ankle, it'll hurt even in your daily life. So you'll be walking and you might have to limp, or you might have to wear an ankle brace, or all this stuff. So then you'll know when the sprain has started to heal, when it no longer hurts to walk. Basically, I have sprained my right ankle in the past. So now I've sprained my left one, but I've sprained the right one in the past. So the 2 times in the past when I sprained my right ankle, it hurt all the time. So it hurt while I was sleeping, it hurt while I was sitting, it hurt while I was walking, it hurt while I was watching TV. It just hurt all the time. So then I knew the sprain had healed when it wasn't hurting me anymore. But the thing is, like right now, I'm sitting here in front of you, my left ankle is not hurting. So I'm like, oh, my ankle's better. So then I go to practice and then I try and triple jump and then it hurts. So the thing is, I'll go weeks without pain because I'll be like, okay, I'm gonna rest it for 2 weeks just to like give it more time. So I won't do anything. I won't triple jump for 2 weeks. I still go to practice. I still lift. I still run. I still long jump because I long jump off my right foot and not my left foot. But anyways, I'll still do my workouts, but I will omit triple jump since that is what irritates it. So I'll not triple jump for 2 weeks and I won't feel the pain at all. So I'm like, I've been 14 days pain free, so my ankle should be okay now, right? Wrong, because I go and triple jump and it hurts again. But when I say it hurts again, I mean the impact, I just feel a sharp pain and then it goes away. So it's not like a lingering pain, like this throbbing pain, it hurts me day in, day out. No, it'll literally hurt me for 2 seconds and then go away. So it's like, I don't even know if it's sprained because I've had sprains in the past and it has never felt like this. But I cannot triple jump. So I feel the sharp pain when I triple jump and then it goes away. And I don't know if it's healed, or I don't know if it's feeling a little bit better until I triple jump again. Because the only way for me to feel the pain is if I triple jump. So I won't know if it's getting better until it doesn't hurt to triple jump. But then by triple jumping to check if it's better or not, I'm re-hurting it. So I'm just like in this spiral because I'm so annoyed because, as I said, I do long and triple. Triple jump is my better event. Like, I'm just better at it. I'm more consistent with it. Like, one of my goals is to, like, make the national team, maybe go to the next Olympics. I don't know. Fingers crossed. And I personally feel like if I'm going to excel past the university level in track and field, I personally feel like it's going to be in triple jump. That's just my personal feeling. It might change, but as of right now, triple jump is looking more promising for me. And so it's very frustrating when I can't do my best event because I sat out for a couple of weeks. Like, I was long jumping, but not triple jumping. And then this past weekend, which just added to my stress, this past weekend, I tried to triple jump again for the first time in 2 weeks. And I jumped the worst I've ever jumped in probably the past 5 to 10 years. Like, it was bad. And I'm just so disappointed because I went into this season with such high hopes and high expectations for myself and like all these goals that I had set. And as of right now, I don't think I'm gonna hit any of those goals, which is very sad for me because I'm in my last year of school. Even if, hypothetically, I failed a class, which, knock on wood, I don't have wood. But even if I do, I might have to do one more semester of school, but that's going to be over the summer. And track is only from September to March. This year, it's from September to April because things got pushed back because of COVID, but typically it's September to March, which means even if hypothetically I have to do one more semester of school, I'm going to do it over the summer, which means I won't be enrolled in school in September, which means I can't compete for varsity coming September because I won't be a student anymore. So this is my last year of school, and it's so frustrating that I'm hurt. It's frustrating that I'm competing the worst I've ever competed in my entire life in my last year of school, and it's because I'm hurt. It's because of something that's out of my control. Like if it's like, oh, I'm jumping poorly because I got slower because I was sitting on my butt for all of COVID. So I'm running slower now, so I don't have as much momentum. That's something that I can fix. I can get faster. Oh, I lost muscle because I couldn't lift because of COVID. That's fine. I can go to the gym and lift. I can go to the weight room at my school and lift. Like those are things that I can fix. But I can't just be like, ankle, be healed. Like I can't do that. And so it's just so frustrating because at my school, if you're on a varsity team, you like get like free athletic therapy. So for the past 2 or 3 weeks, I don't remember. I think this is week 3 that I've been going to the clinic at my school. So I have been attempting to rehab it, but it just feels very slow going. And the thing is, when I had sprained my right ankle a few years ago, the first time was when I was like 16. The second time was when I was maybe like 19 or 20. And the first time it took months. It probably took like 6 months to heal, or not even to fully heal. 6 months before I wasn't limping anymore. And then the second time I sprained it, it maybe took 3 months. So it's been since November, December, January, February. So it's been 3 months and my ankle is not healed. And so let's say it's going to take 6 months, so 3 more months. I don't have 3 more months. My season is over in 1 month. Okay? Tomorrow is about to be the first week of March, and my season ends the first week of April. So I have 1 more month. Not even. I have 3 weeks because the way it works, sorry, I feel like I'm jumping all over the place, but as I said, I'm just thinking out loud at this point. The way track works, at least within the collegiate system that I'm a part of. So in America, you have like the NCAA. In Canada, you have U Sports. So the way it works is U Sports is nationals. And then I'm in Ontario, so my provincials or state is OUAs. So the way it works is by the end of OUAs, the top 12 people in each event get to go to U Sports. So it's based on a ranking system. So they take your fastest time for the season if you're a runner, your longest distance if you're a thrower or a long or triple jumper, your highest jump if you're a high jumper, etc., etc. They take your best performance of the season, and it's in a ranking system. Like it updates every weekend because you compete every weekend, right? So maybe like every Monday, all the submissions from the weekend are in, and the ranking system updates every single week. And so you can see your name moving through the ranks as the season goes on. So by the end of your provincials, for me, that is OUAs, you need to be in the top 12 in order to go to U Sports. So last season, which was 2 years ago because there was no season last year because of COVID, last season I was 13th. In triple jump. In long jump, I don't remember what I was. But as I said, triple jump is my better event. So we're talking about triple jump right now. I was 13th. I was 1 place away. And I did not get to go to nationals. Like, okay, I got to go because, like, you buy the plane ticket ahead of time. So 2 years ago, it was in Alberta. I live in Ontario. Alberta is a 4-hour plane ride away. So you don't wait till the week before and then buy the plane tickets. Like you buy them earlier in the season. So basically I was in the top 12 for the whole season and I got knocked out in the last week. So long story short, my ticket had already been purchased because it was assumed that I was going to qualify, but then I didn't. But then my coach was like, hey, do you want to come anyways? So then I went. So I didn't get to compete, but I got to like be in the environment and got to see what nationals is like. So if I do get to go this year, then it's less nerve-wracking because I've already been in that environment before. So anyways, I got to physically go to the meet and I got to cheer on my teammates and everything, and it was a good experience, but I didn't get to compete. And so this year, as of right now, as of today, I am 12th. I am in the last position, but there's still 2 more weekends before the OUA weekend. So we're competing this weekend and next weekend, and then is provincials. So I have 3 more weekends to stay in the top 12, which also means for all the other triple jump girlies out there, they have 3 more weekends to pass me. And so I don't want there to be basically 1 month of the season left and I'm in the last spot. That is not a safe spot to be. That is not a secure spot to be. Okay? So I can't stay in 12th. I can't. I need to move up. But we've established I can't triple jump right now because I'm hurt. So now do you understand why track is stressing me right now? So school is stressing me because, workload, 6 classes, my classes are taking twice as long, this one class is in person, now I'm communicating, blah, blah, blah. All this stuff is happening in my brain because of school. But now I'm also stressing about getting knocked out of the ranks for track. And so it's like, it's okay. So as I said, last season, which was 2 years ago, I was in my 3rd year of university and I didn't qualify. I was 1 place out. And then I remember making like an Instagram post about it and talking about how I'm disappointed, but I still have more time left and I'll make U Sport next year, not realizing there wasn't going to be a next year because of COVID. So basically at the time when I didn't make it, it was disappointing. But I knew I still had 2 more opportunities because I knew I was going to take 5 years of school. So I'm like, I didn't make it in my 3rd year, but I'll make it in my 4th and 5th year. Like that was the positive thoughts I gave myself in order to like accept the situation. Because at the time when I didn't make it, I was literally sobbing because at the end of OUAs, I knew the distance I needed to jump in order to qualify for U Sports, and then I did my final jump and it wasn't the distance it needed to be, and I just started crying on the spot. And like what eventually got me through it was I'm only in my 3rd year. I have 2 more years. I'm gonna do it in the future. I wanted it to be now, but if it can't happen now, it'll happen later. But then in my 4th year, there was no track team. So then I went from having 2 opportunities to make U Sports to 1. And now this is my 1 opportunity and I'm hurt. And it's so frustrating because if I don't do it now, I'm never going to get to do it because I'm graduating and I'm not doing a master's. My dad keeps trying to convince me to do a master's. I'm not doing that. Okay? So after this, I'm done school. I'm never doing school ever again, okay? So this is my last opportunity to make it. And if the reason, like let's say I wasn't hurt and I jumped very well by my own standard, but I still didn't make the top 12 and I didn't qualify for U Sports, that would be disappointing, but at least I would know that I gave it my best shot. And I would be disappointed in the moment, but I would eventually be able to accept it because I know I did the best I could. Unfortunately, my best wasn't good enough, but I did put 100% of my effort into this. But now I'm incapable of putting 100% of my effort into it, and that angers me. Like, it's one thing to be disappointed because your best wasn't good enough, and it's a completely different thing when you know you could have done better. That I cannot deal with. If I go out my last year not qualifying because my ankle decided it was going to get sprained, I cannot do that's going to bother me for a very long time. Right now, like, I don't even know. I don't know how I feel right now. So there's so many things just going on in my head when it comes to school and when it comes to track, and like, I'm just not, I don't know. Like, I just cannot think straight. I have too many things on my mind. I have reminders going off on my phone every 2 seconds because, oh, an assignment for this class, a forum post for that class, this. And then I'm going to track practice. I don't go every day because class kind of clashes with practice sometimes. But like, I went today, I'm going tomorrow, and I'm going again on Thursday and probably Friday. So this week I'm going to go 4 days this week. Anyways, what I'm trying to say is I go to practice every day or very regularly, and then I just think about all the things I can't do. So when I'm not at track practice, I'm thinking about all the things I have to do for school. And then when I'm at track practice, I think about all the things I can't do because my ankle hurts. So my mind is just constantly racing, and it's exhausting. And I don't know. I'm just mentally tired. Like, I really am. It's just, I'm always worrying about something. Like, I'm worrying about an assignment, or I'm worrying about whether or not I'm going to be able to compete this season. Like, I'm still long jumping because long jumping does not hurt. But as I said, long jump is my worst of two events. I would like to say that I'm still good at long jump, but I'm better at triple. So I can't do my best event. Basically, back it up. You can qualify for U Sports for as many events as you want. So ideally, I would qualify for both long and triple. So then it gives me 2 opportunities to go. I could go as a long jumper, I could go as a triple jumper, I could go as both. But now, potentially, if my ankle doesn't get better, one of my options to qualify might be gone. And like, it's so frustrating. Like, sorry, I'm just gonna go back to this. I said this earlier. At the beginning of the season, I had goals for myself, and I said that I don't think I'm going to hit any of them. So the reason why I had set these particular goals and why I thought I could achieve them is because of this. So a little bit of stats. So for triple jump, my personal best is 11.72 meters, which if you look at like the bigger picture, like internationally, I'm like nowhere near. But if we look in Canada, that's pretty good, okay? So within Canada and like within the collegiate system, I'm one of the top triple jumpers. So my personal best is 11.72 meters. And I jumped that in January of 2020, so over 2 years ago at this point. And at the time, this was pre-COVID, and I was working out every day. I was running, I was jumping, I was lifting, so I was working on my speed, working on my technique, working on my strength every single day. So I do that like Monday to Friday, and then compete Saturday, rest Sunday, repeat. So I was like in my prime physical shape, and like everything was clicking. I jumped 11.72. Then COVID happens, and the last time I had triple jumped was the last week of February of 2020. So COVID happens in March, and I don't really do anything. I was like running stairs with my dad, but I wasn't like sprinting. I wasn't keeping up my speed. I wasn't lifting weights because everywhere was closed. I wasn't jumping because there are no pits. Like where I live, there's one place, and that place was closed. Okay? So there was no pit. So I couldn't work on strength. I couldn't work on speed. I couldn't work on technique. I couldn't do anything except for run stairs. So anyways, I was not doing track and field specific stuff for over a year. Then comes July 2021. So now it's warm outside, so like all the indoor facilities are closed, but you can work out outside. So my coach kind of like restarted practice in a sense. We would basically have 1 hour slots. So you'd basically show up, warm up, jump in the pit a couple of times, and go home. right? So it wasn't like a full-on workout. Like we weren't lifting, we weren't doing speed. We were doing a little bit of jumping technique, but there wasn't enough time to like tweak stuff because you only had an hour. So anyways, we restart over a year later, July 2021. Then by August, I was at a meet and I jumped 11.61 meters, which is only 11 centimeters shy of the best I've ever jumped in my life. The reason I bring that up is when I was in the prime, my prime physical peak, I jumped 1172. Now I've basically sat on my butt for a year and a half and I jump 1161. So I was like, if I am in very poor shape, like I'm just being honest, I was not in good shape. If I'm in poor shape and I can still jump close to the best I've ever jumped in my life, imagine when the school year rolls around and like I'm doing varsity again and we're lifting weights, we're doing speed, we're working on technique. Imagine how good I'm gonna be. So basically the summer before school started, I was still jumping well after not doing anything for a year and a half. So that's why I went into this season with such high expectations, because of what I was able to do whilst having sat on my butt. So I go into this season with these goals. So I have never jumped 12 meters before. As I said, my PB is 1172, but my goal was to jump 13 meters by the end of the season. My goal was to jump 13 meters. I was like, forget 12. I'm going to do 12. I'm only 28 centimeters away from 12. That's going to happen. Like, what's the point of setting a goal that is so easily attainable? It's right there. That's not even a goal. That's just one step out of reach. Like, no, I'm going to set a big goal for myself. I'm like, I'm going to jump 13 meters. That was one of my goals. Another one of my goals was to go to youth sports for the first time because I've never qualified before. Another one of my goals was to make Team Canada, like straight out of university. Like where I train, some of Team Canada trains there too. Like I see them on a regular basis. Like I know some of the Team Canada people, and I've had like little conversations here and there with some of the Team Canada coaches. And so I'm like, I'm going to jump so well this season that right as the season's over, like right as summer's about to start, Team Canada, they're just going to scoop me up. That was another big goal I set for myself, because I'm like, if I jump 13 meters, why wouldn't they just scoop me up? And so I was setting big goals for myself, because I'm like, if I sat on my butt and jumped close to the best I've ever jumped in my life, imagine what's going to happen when I'm actually working out again. And then the very first meet, I get hurt. Do you now understand how deflating that is? Plus, I don't even have another opportunity after this next month to redeem myself, because after this next month, I'm not a student anymore. I don't get to compete varsity anymore. Going to youth sports, not an option anymore because I'm not a student. Jumping 13 meters, I could still do because I don't have to be on a varsity team to continue to train for track. So I could still potentially jump 13 meters, but it's not going to happen in the time frame that I had hoped. Making Team Canada by the start of summer season, haha, no, because I can't jump. How am I supposed to do that big 13-meter jump when I, this past weekend, jumped 10 meters because of my foot? I'm just so, like, these are the things that are going through my mind all the time. And it's exhausting. I'm thinking about school. I'm thinking about track. I'm thinking about how I'm going to heal this foot. I'm thinking about how many times do I need to go to the clinic this week in order to heal my foot for this weekend, because I'm competing this weekend. I'm probably not triple jumping this weekend, but I will be long jumping because long jump's all I have right now, okay? And so if I'm not going to hit the standard in triple jump because my leg is broke, then I need to try and get into the ranks for long jump, because right now I think I'm 29th for long jump, and you need to be in the top 12, as I said. And so currently 12th place, I think, is 5.65 meters. My personal best is 5.53, which means that in long jump, I will need to jump the farthest I've ever jumped in my whole entire life just to be in 12th place. So, there's so many things going on through my mind right now. Like, so many, like, plan B, C, D, E, F. Like, if my ankle doesn't get better in time, then this is what I have to do. And then if that doesn't work out, then I need to do this instead, and da-da-da-da. And it's like, I'm coming up with so, like, my mind is just racing all the time. Like, I'm literally having dreams about my plan A, B, C, D, E. Like, I'm literally dreaming about track and field, right? And I'm dreaming about graduating, and I'm dreaming about passing my classes. And it's like, you know how, like, sleep is supposed to be an escape? Like, no, I'm dreaming about doing an assignment. Like, are you kidding me? I can't even get a break when I'm asleep. Like, I'm... My head is spiraling. I am spiraling. Like, I don't know. I don't know how long this video is. I don't know how long I've been filming for. I don't have my glasses on. I cannot see what my camera says. Hold on. I've been here for 49 minutes and 53 seconds. I assume I'm going to edit this down a lot, but that's how long I've been talking for. Almost 50 minutes. But anyways, this is why I could not come up with a YouTube video for this week, because I'm creatively blocked. Like, I cannot think. I'm thinking about two things: school, track. That's the only thing running through my mind, and it is exhausting. I cannot wait to graduate. I cannot wait to have less things on my plate. Like, literally, okay, as I said, I'm competing this weekend. I'm likely only doing long jump. But hypothetically, if I decide to triple jump and I can just do one decent jump, just a jump to bring me out of 12th place, then I can relax, at least about track. Then I'll still have the stress of school, but it's easier to stress about one thing than it is to stress about two. So right now, I can't get rid of my stress of school now. I have to wait till I graduate. Like, as long as you're in school, you're gonna be stressing about it. So I still have a month and a half more of stress when it comes to school, and I just have to suck it up 6 more weeks of losing my mind. But with track, I could get rid of this stress by just jumping well. I just need one jump. I just need one. That's where I'm at right now. One thing I will say, as I said a million times, I'm competing this weekend. So, like, if you guys are curious to, like, follow how I'm doing in track despite being hurt right now, you can follow me on Instagram, because I always post to my story on the day that I have a meet. I always post my best jump, and I add it to my story highlights. So if you want to see, like, how I've done in previous weeks, my story highlight goes back 2 years. So you can see every single long jump and every single triple jump I've done over the past 2 years, if you're curious. But yeah, that's it. I just needed to say that out loud. I don't know if that helped me, but I feel like it did. I feel like I just needed to get this off my chest, because, as I said, I've been talking for over 50 minutes. And while I do have, like, supportive friends, they also have their own stresses, because all of my friends are on the track team, and they are also students. So they also have the stress of track and school. So I don't want to shove this 50 minutes of me venting onto my friends. So it's on the internet now. So anyways, that's all for this week's video. Thanks for letting me just chat for way too long. I hope you enjoyed it, or maybe it helps you feel like you're not alone. Maybe you're a student, maybe you're an athlete, maybe you're a student athlete, and yeah, it's hard, and that is something that is allowed to be acknowledged. And so maybe you just feel seen from this video. If this video was helpful at all to you, or if you liked it, be sure to give it a thumbs up. If you think your friends will enjoy it, be sure to share it with them. All my social media links will be down below in case you want to follow me on there. Be sure to subscribe to my channel, because I make new videos every Monday. Thank you to my channel members, and be sure to check out one of these suggested videos, and I'll see you next Monday with a happier video.